I'm Reilly Wood. I work at Datadog. I'm a staff engineer working on our MCP server, our public one that customers use, but I also help people build MCP servers internally. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about something we've been trying out with our tools for the last month or so, which is letting agents run SQL, the database query language. We find that that's been working really well. People use our MCP server to access really large volumes of data, like lots of logs, traces, metrics, whatever. Like pretty much right from the start, people were saying, hey, this is a little too much data for agents to deal with. I want to aggregate it. I want to count it. How do I do that? And, we really struggled with this for a while. There's not like one way to solve it, but I'm kind of a databases guy. And so I kept coming back to SQL, right? Like it's pretty easy to write a select, count, group by, or whatever. LLMs have been trained on a lot of SQL, so why not let them do that? Gave it a try about a month ago, and it's been working really well since then. The big issue we've had is that, we're not at a scale where we can stick everything in a relational database, right? So we are operating on very large data. We're basically at web scale. We needed to start using something called Trino. It's an open source query execution framework for this. And we're also thinking about using DataFusion, but we can't just stick everything in Postgres. That's been a big issue for us. Datadog's big thing is observability. So we get logs and metrics and traces from software companies, and then we help them make sense of that. And traditionally, that's been through our web UI. People, create dashboards or they go and search through their logs. But these days, more and more people want to access that and do things like incident investigation with agents. So that's where we come in. The thing we really like about MCP and that our customers really like is that it's kind of plug and play, right? That, it's not this like canned walled garden solution from us. They can hook up any agent they want to our MCP server, and then maybe they hook it up to another MCP server, and suddenly they've got like, hey, they're pulling observability data into Jira tickets or something like that. So the plug and play nature is really what makes it great, I think. I would say they are great. They've been trained on so much SQL that they're better at it than most humans. Where things get a little complicated is there isn't just one SQL out there, right? There's a million different dialects. And so we do kind of have to coach agents like, hey, these are the functions we support. We support the Postgres syntax with these slight variations, that kind of thing. But overall, it works pretty well. You know what? I go back and forth on this, and I think that there's value in both approaches, like sandboxing code and executing it securely is still a very tricky problem, and it's not something everybody's comfortable doing or that is practical to do in all cases. So I think it is still really valuable to have a sort of plug and play solution where, you can just let an agent wild with MCP and know that it's not going to delete all your files or whatever. I think that there are also a lot of things you can do to make your tools more capable so that you don't need code execution as much. SQL is a big example. We find that agents kind of tend to use it for the same things as like Claude Code with Bash. So as a really simple example, if you look at what Claude Code does with Bash, a lot of the time it's just context window management. Like it'll pipe some results to heads to get just a few rows of something. And that's just like a limit in SQL, right? So I think you need that kind of like ability to control what ends up in the context window, but it doesn't necessarily have to be code. Early on, our SQL functionality, we didn't really expose too many functions around JSON parsing. And then, Claude Code was trying to do something that involved some JSON parsing. It runs some SQL, gets an error back. It's like, oh, I don't have access to this function. I'm just going to do some horrible string manipulation in SQL to do exactly the same thing. And like, no human would have reasonably done that, but it got to the right answer in a couple minutes, which I was pretty impressed by. I think Anthropic's been a really good steward of it, but there is always that like worry in the back of your head, like what if they do something that really only benefits them? And I think it's awesome that they've opened that up to everybody. One piece of advice I have for people building MCP servers is that your existing APIs probably aren't going to map super well to MCP tools. That can be an okay starting point, but I really recommend going beyond that and thinking especially about token efficiency and context management as you're building your MCP server. Yeah, so if people want to learn more, we're at datadoghq.com, but you can also Google for the Datadog MCP server. We're in private preview right now, but should be opening up to all customers in January.